Good day, everyone. Maybe you are wondering why there are only some of you who are attending class like this. For you to understand more the modalities of learning that we are implementing in this new normal, here is a short video clip that I made for you. Please watch this one. In case the video quality is not good in this presentation, you can go back to our Google Classroom and look for the link about learning modalities. So, let us watch this video.
This is Claire, and she is sad. She can't go to school because of the threat of COVID-19. She's wondering how she's going to continue her learning. But good news for Claire. Thanks to her teacher Anne, she can now continue her studies even at home without worrying from the deadly virus. Thanks to the different modalities that the Department of Education has suggested. Introducing to you the blended learning. Teacher Anne used different modalities under this blended distance learning. These are the modular learning approach and online learning approach. So, what are you going to do in modular learning? Modules can be accessed as digital module or printed module. To access the digital module, open your messenger and look for Teacher Anne. Then, select My Module menu. Yay! You have now your modules. How do you submit your activity online? Just access Teacher Anne in Messenger and look for Submit Activity button. How about a printed module? How to get it? Your parents are the ones to go to school to get your modules personally. There are boxes assigned to each of you where your parents can get and return the module without face-to-face contact with your teacher. Now, how about the online learning? To enroll in online learning, make sure that you have stable internet connection at home. You should also have an email that you are going to use to access the online Google Classroom. Your teacher will ask your email so that you'll be included in the online class. Now, how do you monitor your progress in modular and online learning? Don't worry, your teachers will give you a weekly learning plan of activities in all of your subjects. Your progress will be monitored by your teacher using the individual learning monitoring plan form. That's how we're going to learn together. Yay! Learning is fun.
I hope that you understand well the different modalities that we are presently implementing. Today's lesson will focus on the cell theory. Before we start with our lesson, let us have first the most essential learning competency, which is explain the postulate of the cell theory. The objective of our lesson today is, at the end of the lesson, you're going to identify different proponents of cell theories. Second, you have to differentiate the cell theory and modern cell theory. And you have to explain the postulate of the cell theories. Let us answer a few questions to help us remind of our previous knowledge on the matter. Number 1. Do you know what is a cell? Number 2, where can we find cells? And number 3, what is the function of the cell? Let's play. Are you familiar with 4-picture one-word game? Now, I will be posting series of sets of pictures and you need to say the word it represents. Please use the MS Word in writing your answers. What is this 4-letter word? How about this 9-letter word? And lastly, what is this 11-letter word? Now, let's watch a video clip. I want you to be very attentive on the content of the clip and please take note as you are going to share some ideas you get from it.
First things first, the setting a long time ago, the 17th century to be honest, yo. There weren't many games or TV shows, just some nerdy old fools with some microscopes. Life without tablets or smart TVs was spent wisely, making discoveries. Robert Hooke was one of the dorks. Found it fun to stare at a slice of cork. Dudes saw chambers, and they looked like thorns, so we call them cells. Now that's the norm. The cell theory is based on discoveries that were made by these dudes that wore wigs way back in the day. Anything that lives has one or more cells, and every cell comes from pre-existing cells. Said anything that lives has one or more cells, and every cell comes from pre-existing cells. One last thing that I need to tell is that life's basic unit is the cell. From 1665 to 1839, 174 years, man, they flew on by. It's crazy to think, yeah, it's crazy for real. Scientists at the time said only plants had cells. But man, Theodore, yeah, he led the way. Schwab be putting down tissue on his microscope plate. Now this ain't the tissue that you put your boogies in. It's the type he found in animal skin. Soon after that, my man Robert Brown started looking a little closer and he saw something round. After many more looks, man, he came to the conclusion, yeah, he found a little brain and he called it the nucleus. As time went on, these dudes kept thinking. They put together thoughts and records worth keeping. All these things that we now know, the cell theory, it continues to grow. The cell theory is based on discoveries that were made by these dudes that wore wigs way back in the day. Anything that lives has one or more cells, and every cell comes from pre-existing cells. Said anything that lives has one or more cells, and every cell comes from pre-existing cells. One last thing that I need to tell is that life's basic unit is the cell. The cell theory is based on discoveries that were made by these dudes that wore wigs way back in the day. Anything that lives has one or more cells, and every cell comes from pre-existing cells. Said anything that lives has one or more cells, and every cell comes from pre-existing cells. One last thing that I need to tell is that life's basic unit is the cell. The cell theory is based on discoveries that were made by these dudes that wore wigs way back in the day. Anything that lives has one or more cells, and every cell comes from pre-existing cells.
Now, share what you have learned. Again, please write your answer in an MS Word. Number 1. What are the significant details you have learned from the video? Number 2. Is the video showing more information about cell theory? And number 3. What is now your perception about cell theory? Let us know the people behind the cell theory. Let us have Robert Hooke. In 1665, Robert Hooke used a microscope to examine a thin slice of cork, which is a dead plant cells. What he saw looked like small boxes. Then Hooke is the one responsible for naming cells. Hooke called them cells because they look like the small rooms that monks live in called cells. Now, let us know Anton van Leeuwenhoek. So in 1673, a Dutch microscope maker was the first to view organism, which is the living things. So Leeuwenhoek used a simple handheld microscope to view pond water and scraping from his teeth. In 1838, a German botanist named Matthias Sladen concluded that all plants were made of cell. Sladen is a co-founder of the cell theory. In 1839, a German zoologist named Theodor Swan concluded that all animals were made of cells. He also co-founded the cell theory. In 1855, a German medical doctor named Rudolf Virchow observed under the microscope that the cell is dividing. He also reasoned that all cells comes from other pre-existing cells by cell division. Based on the discovery of those people, here are the different cell theories and modern cell theories. Number 1. All living organisms are composed of cells. They may be unicellular or multicellular. While there are certainly smaller things inside the body than living cells, the individual cell While there are certainly smaller things inside the body than living cells, the individual cell, like a Lego block, It's a basic unit of structures and functions in all living organisms. Some organisms contains only one cell while others are multicellular. In biology, there are two types of cells, the prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Number 2, the cell is the basic units of life. We know that cell is the fundamental and the structural unit of all living organisms. For example, within the human body, a lot of cells give rise to a tissue. Multiple tissues make up an organ. Many organs create an organ system. Several organ systems functioning together make up the human body. Number 3, cells arise from pre-existing cells. They are not derived from spontaneous generation. Cells give birth to other cells by a pre-existing cell dividing into two daughter cells. Scholars call this process mitosis, a cell division, because one cell produces two new genetically identical daughter cells. While mitosis occurs after sexual reproduction as the embryo develops and grows, it also occurs throughout the lifespan of a living organisms to replace old cells with new cells. And here are the modern cell theories. Number 1, energy flow occurs within cell. Multiple biochemical reactions happen inside the cell. When combined, these reactions make up the cell's metabolism. During this process, some chemical bonds in the reactive molecules get broken, and the cell takes in energy. When new chemical bonds develop to make products, this releases energy in the cell. Exergenic reaction occurs when the cell releases energy to its surroundings, forming stronger bonds than the ones broken. In intergenic reactions, energy comes into the cell from its surroundings, creating weaker chemical bonds than the ones broken. Heredity information or the deoxyribonucleic acid is passed on from cell to cell. All cells contains a form of DNA to reproduce. A cell must have some form of deoxyribonucleic acid, the self-replicating substance present in all living organisms, as the essential elements of chromosomes. As DNA is the carrier of genetic data, information stored in the original cells, DNA duplicates in daughter cells. The DNA provides a blueprint for the final development of the cell, or in the case of eukaryotic cells in the plant and animal kingdom. For example, the blueprint for the multicellular life form. Number 3, all cells have the same basic chemical composition. Similarity in cells of alike species. The reason biologists classify and categorize all life forms is to understand their position in the hierarchy of all life on the planet. They use the Linnean taxonomy system to rank all living creatures by domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. By doing this, biologists learn that in organisms of similar species, individual cells contains basically the same chemical composition. Take note of this. Modern cell theory builds on the previous three components. It does not eliminate any of the earlier information. Modern cell theory adds the energy flow within cell. Hereditary information is passed on from cell to cell, and that all cells have the same basic chemical composition. Major advances in technology in chemical analysis, DNA technology, and microscopy have added to our information about cells. Let us check your understanding by writing your answer in an MS Word. What's the difference between cell theory and modern version of the cell theory? Second, why did Hooke name the cell as cell? Lastly, who is the Dutch microscope maker to first view an organism? Now, let's spot the difference between the two sets of theories. Make your own diagram and try to show the similarities and differences on cell theory and modern cell theory using MS Word. Let's sum it up. What have you learned today? Your reflection using MS Word. Evaluation. Answer the 10-item question. The link is posted in Stream tab. You are given 10 minutes to answer. For your additional activity, please do one of the following. A. Compose a song telling about self-beauty and modern self-beauty. Any song genre is accepted. Letter B. Make a poem regarding self-beauty and modern self-beauty. Letter C. Draw a poster showing the self-beauty and modern self-beauty. Letter D. Create a vlog discussing your understanding on the self-beauty and modern self-beauty. Thank you everyone for participating and see you on the next lesson. Bye for now!